and made them question.
Right.
And that works.
But of course, the
That
Beatles themselves
genuinely
certainly
works.
favored a welfare state.
Just because they lived in one.
I,
were
no,
born
I, think,
there.
I think it was pretty clear several
They were
times that
somewhat
Lenin especially
socialist.
advocated a welfare state.
So, but you're
I'm not
opposed
sure whether
to
it was pure
socialism.
communist, but it was a
Oh
welfare
no, not
state.
communist. But anyway, this was all in.
Well, with Imagine, I mean, they certainly said Imagine was.
They
communist.
was John Lennon. Imagine.
Yeah. It was
Right,
Yeah,
that was
Imagine.
Lennon, but he was one of
Imagine
them.
was
And
John
he was
Lennon.
probably
was not
the
the
most.
Beatles.
He was probably the most
Politically
active.
outspoken. Yeah, he was the politically outspoken Beatle without a doubt. Yeah.
But probably in the
I-
Soviet
I would-
Union, they heard more Beatles.
And
than
they
just
put
solo
a
John
bullet
Lennon.
in him. They killed him. They
This stuff
assassinated
wasn't quite as
him.
catchy.
They were afraid of
Ringo's going to
John.
be the last Beatle standing.
But
I
there,
know
there
it.
was enough
That's my-
Everybody already
commentary.
knew it.
Yeah.
I heard a story.
There was enough political
Why
commentary
him? Why
in there.
that one?
That it was, I mean,
Because
there's-
he's Ringo. I
They
mean,
are
I
clearly
don't
not-
know. There's something.
They're clearly not pure
I find
capitalists.
kind of charming about Ringo, because he strikes me as aware of the fact that he is just so completely lucky. He said in his own words,
yeah.
I'm the luckiest man alive." Because he's really not that great a musician, not a great drummer, but the thing
Oh, he's
is,
not
like,
a bad drummer. The boy is not a bad drummer.
Okay. But I mean, music it's mostly just a matter. He was in the right place at the right time, and both
His
John
chops
and
were
Paul-
good at
yeah,
the time.
and they all liked him.
Yeah.
Even when John and Paul couldn't stand each other, they still liked Ringo.
Yeah. He anyway. I heard a story. Now I forget what it was about. I was trying to tell a story.
Okay, sorry.
I forget what it was about now. What were we talking about? We were talking about
KGB.
Beatles, KGB and Beatles, and I don't know what it was about. Never mind.
Okie dokie.
I was so determined to tell it, but I've forgotten it now.
May I shift gears completely for about
Sure,
30
why
seconds
not?
and do a little bit of a shout out?
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
we
well,
can
there's
do a
all
shout-out.
kinds of things we need to talk about.
There are many kinds of things that we need to talk about. What I want to talk about is tonight. Which camera? This camera right here. Tonight on Mount Dungeon, we were originally going to be showing a new episode, which would have been Life on the Blue Dot. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, and the Life on the Blue Dot episode is not going to be airing tonight. Instead, tonight, for our new episode, we are in fact going to rerun last week's episode, which would be Laura Reed in Deep Pocket, which was a damn good episode, so we're just going to go with it. So tonight, 11 p.m., Mount Dungeon is once again Laura Reed and Deep Pocket, but it's a good episode.
What you
I'm
should
gonna
do,
watch
what
it
you
again.
should do for your shot for this, and you can watch your TV and see that I'm telling you the truth. You should, with your left elbow, with your right elbow, you should lean it on the table, just on this side of the microphone.
Just
On this side of the microphone. Right. Okay. Now. Okay, okay. But look at yourself in the TV. You see what I'm saying?
I see.
Can you turn your head toward the camera and turn your eyes toward the TV so you see it, and you see what a better shot that is?
That's a great shot. All right.
And you're on the microphone. And now
And
from
how
the
do I
top,
sound?
take two.
1, 2.
Go. You're supposed to say, "Hi,
Take two.
I'm
Hi.
Matt Howard with Mount Dungeon, which tonight's episode, blah 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 blah." We're doing it again.
All right. Hi, I'm Matt Howard, host of Mount Dungeon. Tonight at 11 p.m., we had some minor technical difficulties, and we are not going to be airing the Life on the Blue Dot episode as we had hoped. Instead, we are going to rerun last week's episode, which would be Laura Reed with Deep Pocket, but it was a fine episode, so you should watch it anyway. And I also just want to announce that on Friday, February 8th, we are having a Mount Dungeon Presents live concert at Jolly Rouge. Doors open at 9:30. Actually, doors open ahead of them. It's just
When is that? When is the
Friday, February 8th?
Friday, February 8th.
February 8th? Okay, the 8th.
Friday, February 8th. Theoretically, getting going at 9:30. Though I know the bands are not going to be starting at 9:30 because we all know the bands aren't actually going to get started at 9:30. But we are doing
You could even sit that microphone up on that book.
Okay, can I make the announcement now?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
No.
What?
Hold it 8 inches away from your face. Okay.
Okay, how's that?
Okay.
sensitive, yeah.
Okay. And Friday, February 8th at 9:30 at Jolly Rouge, we're going to have 3 bands. It's just $5 to get in, and all proceeds are going to go to URTV.
Nice.
Give him,
Yes.
give him a little more wire.
An actual fundraiser for URTV. We have Kareem Abdul Guitar. We have On the Take. We
Kareem
have
Abdul
the Chops.
Guitar.
Kareem Abdul Guitar. That is right.
see.
And that is going to be Friday,
that a dessert?
February 8th. It is not a dessert. Kareem Abdul Guitar is a musical act.
Sounds
Yum,
delicious.
Yum. Indeed. And so, well, everybody who's not doing anything else that night should go and check it out at Jolly Rouge.
And who else?
February 8th.
February 8th. And then who else you got besides Kareem Abdul Guitar?
The Chops.
The Chops.
Yes.
Do they got good chops?
Yeah, they're the guys we did just last week. Very last Mount Dungeon episode that we filmed. Their episode will not have aired by the time that they're going to be on the stage with us. But
So they'll still
well.
be virtually unknown. An opportunity to see a virtually unknown, yet to be hugely famous Mount Dungeon act.
Of course.
Right. So
And we have On the Take. Friday,
On the
February
Take,
8th.
which must be
Jolly
which
Rouge.
have to be some
Mount
kind of
Dungeon presents.
political-
Raising money for URTV. All right, I'm done.
All right. We've just blown out intermediate stages from here to cable casting. Okay.
I could say that there is a southern element to population. There we go.
Oh, we're not back. Would we be
I didn't
back on the
bring
subject
all-
of population?
Well,
Would you
Yeah,
come in?
I think about
Would you
things
come
that
in
we
and
talk
sit?
about.
Yeah.
Would you come in and sit?
Well, I was gonna say that Mount Dungeon, changing the hearts and minds of Al Qaeda everywhere.
Yeah.
You want to subvert culture?
All right.
Watch Mount Dungeon.
Yes. You know what's funny? You ever hear about the German spies they dropped off on the German saboteurs that the submarines dropped off in America?
What, they decided to stay?
Yeah, they just
They
were
applied for
just all subverted.
citizenship?
Yeah, well, no, they just they stayed underground, but they just hung out in bars and like drank all their money and stuff. And sold their they drank all their money and sold their guns and just lived it up.
And they're like, yes.
They never got around to bombing anything.
All right. That's okay, and that's the way to do it, boys and girls. Remember, see, in the '60s, we figured out several things, and somehow or other, we failed to pass them along to the next generation. For which I apologize for my generation for not passing these along, and I'm going to try to pass them along now to you. Let me. I'm gonna zoom in on me. So this is from my generation to your generation. I was a hippie generation, okay? And little things that we learned that we didn't pass along, I'm going to pass along now from my generation to your generation. Our generation, we've learned about good drugs and bad drugs. We found out about that. But what I'm going to pass along right now is that we also had the philosophy of what if they threw a war and nobody showed up? You know, and that's something that our generation thought we had discovered was, oh, war is a bad thing. War is not good. And so if, for instance, you were called upon to go to Iraq, you might follow the advice of the fellow to my right here, who was talking about the Germans that came to this country and just hung out in bars and stuff like that. You know, they didn't run around and kill Americans or bomb anything or do anything, did they?
Right, they just lived it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And they took their money that they were supposed to buy explosives with, and they
Right.
just
And-
gambled it away in casinos and stuff.
And if our troops in Iraq just went over there and just party, if we just went over there and taught those folks how to party, if we said your mission is teach the Arabs how to party, you know, go over there and party, then after a while the Arabs, they would go, hey, we like these Americans, they party good, and we want to be like them because they know how to party. See, and that would be much better than war. Okay, we're going back to wide now. All right, so that's the what if they threw a war and nobody showed up? What if they threw a war and instead of throwing a war, we threw a party and invited everybody to party? There you go.
I know my father's neighbor in St. Augustine watched the submarines She was on the beach in St. Augustine. St. Augustine was one of the drop-off points, and so
and the
she was
Germans
strolling down the beach in St. Augustine, and the submarines come up right offshore. And
Right,
she-
here come the
she ducked
Germans.
behind the sand dunes and watched them, and there they are smoking cigarettes and hanging out.
And
They're just like 200 yards out.
Right, and saying which way to the bars. They're stopping the people.
Yeah.
Where's
She
the
wasn't sure
bar?
what they were doing. I mean, they just, as far as she saw, they were just hanging out, and then they went away again. But she didn't see them do much of anything but sit there offshore.
Right.
I think they were waiting for freighters to go by so they could torpedo them. But she could see the lights of their cigarettes. And, yeah, she hid in the dunes.
Well, that's pretty cool, and it's pretty cool. I think that was pretty smart of the Germans. I would say that there were a lot of people. What is the word? Inscripted? What is the word when they like draft someone into the service? I think there were a lot of people taken into the German military that were not real happy about it. Would not have joined up, and for one reason or other were called upon and more or less forced into being in the military. Then they take a bunch of those people, bring them to America, and drop them off and tell them to go bomb them. Well, as soon as Daddy's gone and Big Brother's not watching anymore, so to speak, they're like, "Phew, glad that's over." It's like, who wants to volunteer to go bomb the Americans?
Half German, half French people in France.
I do.
That moved to France because of the economic troubles in Germany, and all those people, if they had their father was German, they all got drafted.
Although
they didn't want to.
although we were attributed with having liberated France, I always felt that the French, I always attributed the winning of the war to a large degree to the French, and that is because when the German troops got to France, and when they went into France and occupied the country, the French cellars were all full of wine like these people had never. The fine, this is wonderful, wonderful wine and lots of it. And I believe the German army got really drunk and I think that to a large degree the French halted the Germans right there. I think they got mired down in French wine. Okay, go ahead. You looked like you had something to.
I was about to take off, and I was just gonna pop my head in here and say goodbye, everybody. But a funny story that I heard about a French resistance reunion.
Right.
There is a stereotype of the French man as being somewhat effete and cowardly and pretentious, but doesn't have a lot to back it up. There's that stereotype.
Yeah, we know that one.
But it's a stereotype of French men and not French women, and everybody stops and thinks about a French woman, and they think kind of
Right,
French woman, because I mean that is a sexy.
She's got
accent.
plenty to back it up.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
There was a reunion like 50 years later or something like that of the French Resistance, people who were involved in the French Resistance. At this point everybody was obviously old, but they're getting together.
Julian Child was.
Julian Child was part of
Julian
that.
Child was in the French Resistance.
Well,
Okay.
again, a French woman who was being very impressive. Well, all the women were talking. They realized they didn't know any of the guys here, so all the old ladies compared notes. And these were women that were blowing stuff up, sabotaging jeeps, cutting telegraph lines, or maybe just seducing a Nazi for either the intelligence or just for the opportunity to slit their throat. And they were comparing notes, and they realized they didn't know any of the guys that showed up to this reunion. And they compared notes further, and they realized none of the guys who had showed up bragging about their war stories were actually even in the French Resistance. A bunch of guys showed up and lied about their war stories, and the only people there that were actually like hardcore veterans of the French Resistance were all the women.
Right. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Yeah.
So
that the moral of this story is don't mess with this French woman.
I would not mess with a French woman. All right. I mean, you want to call a French guy a cheese-eating surrender monkey? Well, maybe there is some validity to that, but do not underestimate a French woman.
Yeah, what do you mean by mess? Define mess exactly.
We
I leave that open to interpretation, and I still have things to do, so
Do
I'm
you?
going
Well, thank
to
you
move
for
on.
coming to the tea party.
Thank
and
you.
Perhaps on your way out, you can draft a replacement for yourself. Maybe there's
see what I
someone
can do.
out there.
I wasn't planning on going to the brew pub tonight because it's kind of cold and snowy out there, and it's a new episode anyway. So I don't know. Like
I'm the same
JJ
way.
and Ben talked about showing up, but I'm not going to bother because
Okay.
we're going to be out there on the big cold patio. Screw that. I'm going to make a big deal. Like once the weather gets nice and warm again, I'm going to make a big deal about watching Mount Dungeon on that patio, but not tonight.
I would like to see us have a place
I agree.
where we could watch the show on the big screen and where that would really be it would be the primary thrust of what was going on. You know what I mean?
agree.
And there would be a comfortable place where we wouldn't have to be outside and where we could we wouldn't have to compete with a ball game or whatever.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Besides, tonight's episode, Laura Reed episode, is an awesome episode, but it's also
It is.
It's a rerun.
It is an awesome
So I'm not
episode.
gonna make
And
a big
if
deal
for
about
some reason anybody has missed it, that's great that it's running again. Because
I've
if
been
there
told-
was an episode to not miss, this would be that. If there's an episode to not miss right now, here's an opportunity to catch that one
I've been
again. And
told-
it was great. I don't know anybody who wasn't riveted to it and had to sit through the whole thing. This was a good show.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
it is.
Well, I've been told that a person tonight who missed it, who's going to get an opportunity to see it tonight, is Laura Reed herself. So
Oh, really? She didn't see it.
she didn't get. I think she was out of town, from what I was told.
Oh, I hope she enjoys it.
Yeah, she was out of town. She came back for the Pop Fest.
She already knows the words of the songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
She can sing along.
yeah.
Yeah, so she should really enjoy it. Yeah, and I'm hoping that I wish. Why doesn't she come to tea? I don't know. Laura, if you're out there, why don't you come to tea? Hi there, Randini. Come
What's up,
in.
Randy?
Have a seat.
Hey man,
How you
what-
feeling?
I'm doing great now. Doing much better. Boy, it's
Are
cold
you?
outside.
How are you?
I mean, it turned cold in a hurry.
You did it.
I'm ready for some good warm tea. You
All
said
right.
it's
The
blue
white
right?
one. The white one. Yeah.
Okay.
Try that out and see if that's the one that.
I
It's-
thought you
it's
said
the-
it was
it's-
blue earlier,
No, it's the white one.
but you oversteeped it, I guess, didn't you?
Hopefully not too badly. Try it. You want a sugar cube? I know. All right. Okay, so do that and tell me if that's the right one, and if it's not, well, it's just too bad.
Do I get a refund if it's not?
No. All
I mean,
right.
there's no money back guarantee.
No, we do the best we can, and that's what we can. You know, that's we're not playing any games here. Okay. All right,
the throwback to the
this is for real. This is the tea party. This is real.
This is real.
This is reality right here, boys and girls. This is it. What you see is what you get. We are having tea.
We're really having tea.
Right. The writers are on strike, and guess what? It never made a bit of difference. It didn't change our show one iota.
Nope, not
because
one bit.
nobody wrote nothing for us. We're telling.
Spare a spot of tea.
Please come and I tell you what, he's just about to. You
Yeah, I'm right
may
there,
you may either replace him or you may replace him. Both
I
of
don't
them.
want to replace anyone. I just want to have a spot of tea.
Okay.
Mine.
Take grab your cup. Grab your cup for me.
we could
That's
we could
wonderful.
unseat
And give him
another
a
chair.
saucer. And me
Thank you.
and give me your cup. There's
How's
your
Randy
saucer.
doing?
Doing
Good to see you.
How about yourself?
Doing good. Happy
Happy New
Thursday.
Year to you.
And happy Thursday.
Happy
Of course,
Thursday.
I know how it goes. I'm probably not going to leave yet.
Oh, you're
I
not.
hadn't seen you since Christmas. So.
Have you noticed how hard it is for me to actually?
Been
Oh,
busy,
yeah,
I guess, huh?
me too.
Well, the holidays not too busy, and then after the holidays, real busy.
So you've just come back from the board meeting.
No, I didn't go yet.
Oh.
I was filming in Studio A.
Oh! You've been here all this time. What time does the board meeting start? 6.
6:15.
Oh, okay,
People
okay.
arriving now.
Oh, okay.
Come on in. How are you?
Extra tea?
Yes.
Oh yeah, here. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You
let me
can
see.
you can replace this guy. get her a cup. and a-
He just can't wait to replace you.
I
I don't
know
know
it,
about
I
that.
know
What
it,
kind of
I know
host
it.
is he?
You can come back because I'm
Oh, he may
talking.
stay. He may
Yeah.
stay if he gets a chair there. He can stay, but you have to figure out how to get a chair out from under there. Hi there.
Ooh,
Give her a
lovely.
saucer too, please, if you would, please.
Yeah, did I
and
just
we
say-
have
Oh, yeah.
some sugar cubes in here.
Okay, well, I'm fine. I think
How are you
Sugar.
doing? Are you getting ready to
I'm
go
good.
to? You're on the board, aren't you? Are
Yes.
you going to the board meeting?
Yes.
Oh, good.
So,
I tried to come by the retreat,
Well,
but
you're filming
I was so
the
tired I couldn't make it. I
Yeah.
had a cold last
No.
week, and I did. I was, and I
No,
find,
it's a separate series.
and
This is,
I tried to come, and I just said no.
Series on
But I was,
codependency.
I was going to
Yeah,
come
filming
and
that.
give a.
Really
That's
nice
what I
series.
mean,
yeah.
Really good series.
I was going to come and I
Because
was
we
going
were
to give a
just in,
report
okay.
on how
You
things.
guys followed us.
No, we
up,
did
but
see
I
the
had already
videotape.
left before you
Yeah.
came back.
Oh
in.
yeah, where
That-
we all talked out
that,
on.
everybody
filmed,
talked on, so.
Guy
So that
running
was
for
good.
governor.
Oh,
Posted
This is just
my
such
first
an
video
elegant,
on This Is My
I
Band.
tried.
Oh, cool.
Service.
All right.
Catfish
They
Show.
don't-
So tune in. And
That's, I
there'll be
know.
a
Series
I have-
series of,
I-
series
Sorry,
of blues
they have
videos.
Sounds good, yeah.
It's the latest thing, is unmatching
Now,
cups
so
and
that's my
sauces.
first
Well, that's what we've
experience.
got.
Really, really pretty cool.
we've
with
got,
that.
but
Yeah.
but actually we can make everything.
Yeah, works out
I
pretty
didn't
It's
set the
point and
table,
click. It
Yeah.
really has gotten to be a point and click.
and I haven't really.
Experience, which
This
is
is
good.
this is my new assistant. Okay, his name is Adam.
Hi,
Right,
Adam.
and
Very nice.
I'm
and
Mary Ellen.
and I haven't fussed at Adam about
And who are
trying to
I'm
make
Randy
things
Thomas.
match.
Randy,
It's
and
beyond.
Alan Dittmore.
Ellen. Okay, I'm Mary Ellen Brown.
So you have an assistant now, huh?
What, does he set the table?
He did today, and he's been helping me. And as a result of that, I'm set up on time
Oh, that's good.
when it's time for the show to start, instead of in my panic. So you wouldn't like me if you were here like 5 minutes before the show. I'm very rude to people who are trying to talk to me and and be sociable and stuff like
So
that.
you're a mad scientist junior.
Well, of course.
Or a
You
mad
would be
scientist
because you're so,
I'm
assistant mad scientist.
trying to
you're high
Exactly.
strung.
yeah, I'm trying to get the show on the air, and people start
Or a mad
are
scientist
talking
in
to me
training or
nicely, and then
Very much so.
then I'm like, if I basically I say I'm busy right now, and then I'd be rude if they don't go away. I'd be rude to
See, I
them.
just don't talk to John before the show.
He knows.
That makes sense.
I have a pre-show
Now, this
panic.
is excellent tea.
don't
You like that
speak
tea?
Who
up
made
for
the
it.
tea?
Man, that's good.
Did
I
you make
really
it?
Well,
Did you
now
make
he
it?
put the tea into the infuser ball today.
Well, I believe that could have steeped a little longer, but I
Really?
don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
see,
it's
he
a
used
little
a small.
light,
He had already had the tea in this. I worked the large tea ball in this pot.
That's
okay,
what it was.
but he got it in the small one, and I just said go with it. There's a lot of
This-
go with it
This
that
is
is.
very interesting.
Yes,
This
we'll have
is
a look
the
at it.
Chinese tea.
It's all Chinese tea.
Now these are very rare. These flowers.
Would you like some?
You have some?
We do. We see a friend of mine who is Mrs. Wang. The family business is they own the Wu Yi Tea Company in China, and she lives here in Asheville, and her brother lives in China and runs the company. And
Well, you see,
she
I
goes
have
to China, and
I
she
have a Chinese daughter-in-law, and her mother lives in the United States. Went to China, brought back some of those, and she said that the only place they could be purchased was in China.
Okay.
So I thought they were very rare.
No, you can purchase them right here in
in
Asheville.
Asheville.
From
Great.
right, because Mrs. Wang's family business is they own the Wu Yi Tea Company. And here,
And where is the
see
Wu
this is what's in the white pot, right?
Oh, beautiful.
And I'm sure you read Chinese, so.
Oh, of course. Actually, my daughter-in-law does, and her mother does, and father, and my grandson goes to Chinese school.
Oh.
This is for Chinese. My son, of course, is not Chinese.
So we get most of our tea comes from Wu Yi Mountain in China.
Wow,
And
Wu Yi.
Wu Yi, there you.
Oh, amazing. Are you giving these to me?
Yes. And I don't know. I saw a movie recently
That's
about
wonderful.
who was
Hey, Tex.
who come on in there.
Hi there.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on in and find yourself a seat over there.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to be going soon too, but
Yeah.
the tea is delicious.
Howdy, folks.
We're in this camera, so you need to sort of lean in
Yeah.
to this camera.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Okay.
Put your hand out.
Now, where do we get this here in Asheville?
Okay.
This.
Okay. This is not a plug. This is just simply
Oh, right,
informational.
right,
This is
right.
just informational
Yeah.
from the China Garden Buffet. The Wangs run China Garden Buffet, and they have it there.
They sell it just
Right.
in this
Yeah.
form?
Now who was the French woman who said let them eat cake?
Marie Antoinette.
Marie Antoinette. There was a movie I saw a movie just a couple of weeks ago about Marie Antoinette. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe 3, of Marie Antoinette. And in the movie, they had tea. You know, and it's a very high tea thing. You know, all fancy. And they said the emperor. They said the emperor of China sent this. They had those there, and they had a glass teapot, and they put that in it, and everybody was around watching it flower, you know, and everybody was going ooh, and Marie Antoinette was saying this was sent to us by the emperor of China. It's very special and very good, and it was exactly the same thing as this in the movie.
It's called Wu Yang.
Wu Yi is
Wu
here.
Yi.
Let me get you.
Great.
I've become obsessed with the tea from Wu Yi Mountain, being that it's some of the finest tea in China. It's also some of the finest tea, of course, in the world. So here we go. And I have managed to beg this from them.
Oh,
And I think it has pictures of the company in it and various things.
wow.
But there it is. That's the Wu Yi Tea Company.
Well, now.
And you can look it up online.
Are you telling your audience about this too?
Well, I
On a
do.
regular
I
basis?
do only because, for informational purposes only.
Of course.
They're not a sponsor of my show.
Oh, right. I was thinking it was Wu Yi tea was not necessarily a brand, but it was just the kind of tea from this mountain. But it's a brand.
It is a brand. It's from Wu
I
Yi
see.
Mountain.
I see.
And I rarely say that I have Wu Yi tea. I say that I have tea from Wu Yi Mountain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
that would be good.
then that's what I usually say.
All right, good.
But since you asked where do you get it?
Well,
and so,
it was so funny.
you know, and I like to
I had some of these for Christmas dinner,
Uh-huh.
and I was so taken by them that
Uh-huh.
I
I have two different
inquired, and I only heard that they were from China, and that was the only place you could get them.
Yeah. Well, no, you can get them right here.
So, great.
But you know, but besides right here, they are a bit rare. And
Okay, so I mean, don't.
here,
I
open
don't
the little
need
bag
any,
up.
I
Let
don't
me
need
give you
any
some more.
more.
Let me give you some more.
This is fine.
Do you know if they grow in this climate?
No.
No, only China. Well, I mean, just two. Just
Open
two.
your bag.
Well, parts of China have a similar
Alright,
climate to this.
Huh?
Parts of China have a climate
Well, you
that's
can
not
share them
too
with her.
far
Would you
from
like a
here.
cup of tea? It's good tea. Tell her it's good tea.
A lot of Chinese things,
Delicious.
bamboo grows here. A lot of Chinese things grow here.
It's-
Well, it may would grow here. It
What
may
time
would.
is it? I have a meeting at 6.
On the clock.
I must go.
Okay.
Well, listen,
will you
thank
come
you.
back for tea? Will you come back and have tea? No, you won't have tea. She won't ever have tea.
Oh, she will.
Okay.
Well, I'll get her to come back.
All right. Well, I'm glad you came. That's good. It worked out well, didn't it?
It did. I'm just entranced.
Yeah. I'm always trying to get the board members. I'm always trying to get all the members to drop in and have tea. You know.
Right.
we're
Well, this
open.
is
We're,
If the camera was off, I dropped in.
oh right. She's the camera shy member of the board. I
know.
forgot about that.
I would love her to come
But
to tea.
I just
Express
wanted
that to her.
to tell you that this is my second time.
I know.
Okay. So, and I'll be
And-
back.
Yeah, and you never stay
good to
very
meet you
long
all.
though.
Good to meet you.
Well, no, I'm just kind of passing through at the moment.
Right. I know.
But next time,
I know. But
I'll
we
stay
we
long.
try to honor our board members special
okay.
when they
Good.
come. So.
Good tea like that. It's a good start.
How do you get to be on the
Pretty
board?
good.
to meet you.
Huh?
How do you get to be on the board?
You can be elected to the board by the membership. When
By the membership of the board.
no, by the membership of URTV.
Your TV.
Joe was apparently elected by the membership, but he ran unopposed. I don't know if that counts.
If he's on the board, it counts.
Yeah, well, he's on the board, so it
And
counts to that degree.
Ralph was appointed.
Ralph was somehow appointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
don't
only
know.
because they needed a replacement, I guess, pretty quick.
I guess I don't know. I don't know the details of how it all comes about. But I think I approve of it because I think it's some kind of anarchical system.
Well, it sounds like a democratic system.
Not really. I think it only pretends to be. I don't believe it. I don't know the details, but I get the impression that it's more anarchical than democratic, and if you were to really analyze it and put it together.
It's just chaotic.
It's a matter of actually. There's another word that I would like to use instead of anarchical, and this is if they teach you business management.
Actually, it sounds like a Republican
It's
system to me.
called contingency management. So rather than anarchical or democratic. I think contingency is the proper word, and that means a contingency management person, someone who had a contingency management style of management for a business, means that they do whatever it takes to get it done. That means they don't have a style. They're not this type or that type or whatever. They're whatever type or whatever it takes to get the job done. It's contingency management, and that's how things run here.
For the group or a board of elected people, that's a Republican.
Yeah, who elected them?
The members.
Elected? No, the board was not elected by the members. When I first became a member here, there was no person on the board of directors from the membership. There was not even one from the membership. There are now 2 members on the board of how many people? 6 or 8 or better?
I think 7 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah, and only 2 of them are even members. Huh?
What about the futures?
We don't know. I don't know anything about the future. Do I have a crystal ball in front of me? That's what I'm talking about.
When they first started, they were all city appointed, but that's the way it had to be because there was no members to appoint a board.
Right, and so I don't know, I don't know. Are they going to replace all of the appointed with elected? I don't know that that's true. I don't know.
I'm sure they would.
Okay, I'm not sure of anything.
It's when that happens, it will be a Republican system.
I've only voted for one member.
Right.
I've only voted for one member who actually became a member of the board, but who is no longer a member of the board, right. and was apparently voted down by the board. Yeah.
So you're
by the appointed board. So I really can't say what you know.
I'm trying to get a grasp on what he is. I can't.
At the moment I wasn't. I was just trying to identify what sort of system this was.
But I listen to
what am I?
Week to week, and I don't know where you stand.
That's a good question. I think I am for decentralized democratic systems.
Okay, and
this is the direct democracy. Direct democracy is when people vote not for leaders but on issues, like in referendum.
All right, so you make it.
The members or the citizens vote directly on the laws rather than vote for people.
So you think all the citizens should make up the government? In other words, there's no regular government. It's just that when there's an issue comes up, everybody in America goes and votes and says.
Right. Well, like there was a referendum on zoning, and there was a referendum on.
You'd never have time to live your life.
Because
you'd have to be doing it constantly
we'd be voting
single
every day.
On the other hand, there'd probably be a lot less stupid little laws passed.
I'm not sure the alternative would be to have a limited number of laws.
But that would be only if the people voted for a limited number of laws. What if?
Now, if you had
a large enough base, they'd all be like, "No, we want to have this law. No, we want to have this law. No, we want to."
If you wanted
everybody
your
would
face on television, if you slid over this way, it would be on there.
That's true.
You see what I'm talking about?
But the New England town meeting is that way.
Oh, you twisted this.
Yeah, but that's a small,
you can make him
centralized area.
Well,
You're talking for an entire country, like a large body.
Yeah.
There's going to be like different ethnicities, cultures, and everything, and they're all going to be arguing all the time and having different votes all the time. It would be continuous.
Some of the town, I think Framingham was the largest town in the world, has something like 50,000 people in it.
Who? Framingham?
Framingham, Massachusetts. I think it was a big town. It was like.
And it was what? It's the biggest town?
I think it might have been the largest town in the world. It didn't have it wasn't a city. Didn't have a mayor or city council. It had a town meeting.
It didn't have a city council? Did it have a town council? Oh, okay, never mind.
It had a town meeting system.
Oh, okay.
Where everybody who showed up to the town meeting voted on the policies.
Okay.
But still, how big was that?
It was like 50,000 people.
50,000. Sure, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Is this
the
one you wanted?
It's perfect, man.
Is
That's
that
good
the taste?
Tea. That's good tea.
Yeah, Framingham was like Waynesville or Black Mountain or something.
Good.
Thank you.
You just barely made it. There's not much left in the pot.
Did all 50,000 people go to the meetings?
Oh, no.
No, of course.
They'd have to make it pretty
But whoever wanted to did.
It's getting so cold that it's not working.
And I think the internet could help if you get secure systems on the internet.
You could never get that secure.
Where people could do it.
No, you can't. You can't. You really can't. And I'm appalled, frankly, that as much commerce goes on the internet.
I'll be honest with you. I buy everything I buy off the internet. I'll put my credit cards out there and never worry about it a bit.
Just have to let it go, but you know it's not.
But I would never vote on the internet. No. I would never vote for an official on the internet.
No, I don't even like using the machines.
Yeah.
I know too much about that.
Right,
I
and
know.
the internet,
I know
the
too.
internet polls are always getting stacked.
Come
too, yeah.
on,
The
come on.
internet polls
No, it's
are-
real. It's a real time. Hey, okay, wait a minute. I have to break in here. Wake up, America, about voting machines. Okay, it is.
yes.
It is time. It is time for America to wake up. Wait a minute. I'm going to swap my cameras again. Okay, it is time for America to wake up about voting machines. Those of us who are engineers and things like that, or who are involved in digital electronics, we know what the score is. It is time to take a real hard look at voting machines. Okay,
But
end of story.
I'm hoping that large-scale direct democratic systems can be created that don't require people to show up at a certain place and time.
Mm-hmm.
That don't require physical proximity.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got, in Arab countries.
Because it uses fuel, mostly. It's
In
just-
Arab
everybody-
countries,
everybody has to go to the
they
meeting.
they stick their finger down
in
in blue dye or something. They dye their finger purple or blue
The
or
Iraqi
something.
system.
Yeah, right. I've got a better one. They should cut their finger off. You see, they could watch that.
10 votes and 10 votes and you're done.
But
no more fingers.
the fundamental difference between a democratic system and a Republican
I mean,
system, though,
nothing says I voted like. I'm
Right.
sorry. Go ahead.
the fundamental difference between a democratic system and a Republican system is in a republic, you vote for people, leaders, and in a democracy, you vote on issues or policies.
And a democracy is
yeah.
issue driven.
Right, the medical-
and in a republic, it's individual driven.
Right. The medical marijuana out west, the whole West Coast and Nevada and Arizona too.
Right.
Those are all referendum votes.
Right.
Direct democracy.
Democracy.
And the governor, the recall of the governor. Well, no, that was a governor, so that was the recall. I guess could have been considered a referendum, but the re-election was a. But a lot of states, North Carolina has very few referenda.
So we're more.
Where I'm from,
we're
Massachusetts,
a republic then.
I think we ought to just
Yeah.
change and live like Norway.
They're happier, aren't they? And Denmark is happy.
No, well, Norway. If any of you guys seen Sicko?
Yeah.
If you go to YouTube, and this is not me telling somebody to go to YouTube. I'm talking to you guys.
If you
if you go to YouTube, there's a video on there that he left out of Sicko because he was afraid people wouldn't believe it, and it's about 10 minutes long and it talks about Norway, and it's just unreal. It's unbelievable to watch that because it talks about how their women get a year off for maternity leave paid by the government. Their medical insurance is free. They have no prison systems. If you even murder
Here, slide down to this
people
one.
that's committed murder, they just take them to one of their little islands that are off the coast of Norway, and they put them on that little island, and they're free to do whatever they want to do.
And
They
spank them,
They
right?
have housing and stuff like that. There's no life sentences in Norway. They get out in 10 to 15 years. The average murderer will spend 7 years over on that little place.
Well, that's more than the guy who tried to murder me.
They can come and go as they please, and they really try to rehabilitate these guys.
Right.
And
It's Norway.
Yeah, they commit these crimes, and their police don't carry guns. Their crime rate is the lowest crime rate in the world.
Now pull that thing back around like that.
And
Now pull it all the way. Pull it like seriously.
Like that?
Yeah. Okay. That's you now.
And so yeah, I mean, you should really watch that video. It's very interesting to see it, and how they live and how happy they are, and just how the whole system works, how their medical system works. They're not waiting in line, like some of these people would have you to believe that these government-run health insurance things,
Right. That nobody gets anything because all they do is wait in line until they die.
Yeah, so
And it's not true.
That's right. But well, now of course I'm going to throw out my little disclaimer there. I don't believe our federal government should have to supply medical insurance, but I do believe our system's broke. I'll put it that way. Because and the reason I say I don't believe our government should run a medical system is because our government don't seem to be able to run anything. So what makes us think
You got
we can run
that.
a medical system? I mean, why should we throw health insurance in there only when they can't even run anything else? So, I mean, go figure. But yeah, do look that up. I don't remember how I found it, but I'm sure if you just type in Michael Moore or something in YouTube, it'll
In Denmark.
yeah.
Michael Moore and
Norway.
Norway. I'm sorry. I don't mean to confuse the issue. I'm
But
just
yeah, the
confused.
Scandinavian examples are very, very interesting.
Compelling.
Yeah.
We'll say the Scandinavian
I-
examples are very compelling. Don't we? Don't
I
we
just
sound?
want to point out my observation for why I think this sort of stuff works in Scandinavian countries, but why I question whether or not it could work here.
Because we don't talk like they do.
No.
Because it's
Although,
warmer here.
well, actually, part of it, yeah. That said, all these Scandinavian countries have very homogeneous populations. And so, I mean, there's this very strong sense of them taking care of their own. And that everybody pretty much ethnically, culturally identifies with everybody else.
In
So, I
other
mean, they
words,
wanna
the
take care-
culture is
Yeah.
ready for it.
The culture is ready for it, and you know they have a clearly defined sense of who they are and who what their own kind is, and they want to take care of their own kind.
And we're
A.
rednecks, and you're saying we're
B,
rednecks.
B, have you not noticed that in a lot of places that are colder, people are generally better at working together and taking care of each other anyway than in warmer climes?
Because they have learned.
Yeah.
If they don't, people freeze to death and die.
Yes.
Right.
Their insurance, this is something that he brought up. Their insurance, which is government owned.
Right.
Okay, so essentially the government's paying for this, pays for everybody. Every Norwegian gets a 2-week paid vacation to anywhere in the world as long as it's warmer than Norway.
Wow.
Because they figure it's healthy for them. It keeps them generated, motivated, just so it gives them 2 weeks away from.
Well, you know what we need to do is have you seen those commercials on TV for Asheville?
Yeah.
You know, they play them on the national cable channels
Yeah,
and
you see
stuff
them in
like that.
California.
And you know what?
Vegas,
I would
right.
so
They
rather
need to be playing those in Norway because these people
Not
are
only
getting
that, I
a free
would so
ticket.
rather have people moving here from Norway than from Florida.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
see.
Oh, who wants to? You don't need one of those because you're going to be here anyway. Anybody want a admit one Mount Dungeon taping January 26th, 2:30 p.m. ticket?
How many of these do we have? We don't have many, do we?
5.
The
Who wants to come and watch Mount Dungeon?
Wait. No, I mean, all together is 5 the size.
This is what I got in my hand right here.
That's all. You have them all.
That's I don't know how many there are. That's how many I've got.
Oh, you don't know how many were made.
So you
Ben
guys are
handed
doing
me 5.
live viewing audience now.
Yeah, we're trying to get a studio
No,
audience
no,
in there.
no. I'll take 2 of these, and I will try to distribute
Alrighty.
2 of these.
Who wants one? Who wants to come check out Who wants to be part of our studio audience
Well, I
on
wish I
Saturday?
could, but
Make it look exciting.
Studio audience. for
Okay,
Mount
we
Dungeon
got.
on Saturday?
All right, we had a talk. We had a talk about thisismyband.com. Mm-hmm. We brought this up.
Oh yeah, Ben wants
recently.
to talk to you about sponsorship for the rest of the year, or wants to know whether or not you're planning on renewing.
yeah, I don't see why not. I know that you had some sort of. I was watching it when I was doing my kidney stone thing. And,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
I know
yeah. How
had
are
a
you
piece of
feeling
paper.
about that?
Oh, I'm doing good now.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing good.
I've had kidney stones too, so as soon as I heard about that, I'm like, oh, cool, poor Randy.
So, but we had a talk about this, sort of aside from our normal business meeting and all, and